Thankful he's keeping it to himself.
All right, everybody, let's begin the meeting here with the Pledge of Allegiance. And afterwards, if we could pause for a second for a moment of silence. George Schwader, a 24-year employee with the city of Trenton, passed away unexpectedly last week, too. So we can do a moment of silence there. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, everybody, we'll call the meeting to order at 7 o'clock here. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Von Crooks?
Here.
Benedetti?
Present.
Gabbawatton?
Present.
Lefevre?
Here.
Pate? Here. Perugi?
Present.
Rezeppa?
Here.
Quorum present, Mayor Rezeppa.
Thank you very much. Next up, we have the minute approval for the regular meeting of January 13th, 2020.
I would so move. Support.
Moved and supported. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, it is unanimously so ordered. Next up, presentations and proclamations. We have Justin from Plant Moran here with us. So I would entertain a motion to make this part of the regular meeting.
So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported. Any further discussion? Seeing none, is unanimously so ordered. So if you don't mind, we'll have Justin go through the whole presentation here, just a few slides here, and then we can hold the questions for after, and then we'll just direct questions through me and go from there. But feel free to take it away, Justin.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. My name is Justin Coble. I'm the audit manager on the accounts. Unfortunately, Bill Bricky, who's the partner, came down with the flu today, so he's unable to make it here. In front of you, you should have three different documents: the financial statements, which is the large bound document, a report to mayor and city council, and then the graph package, which I just handed out tonight. I want to start off by thanking the Controller's Office. Karen and Jill do a fabulous job of getting us everything in a timely manner. We're out here for a couple weeks, and it doesn't stop after we leave the field. Their preparedness is something that we really value and really appreciate working with them throughout the entire year, and specifically during the audit process. From an audit perspective, the city did receive an unmodified opinion on the financial statements for the year ended June 30 of 2019. That's the highest level of assurance that we're able to provide to a set of financial statements, which means that the financial statements are in compliance with the rules and regulations. Before I get into the graphs, I just want to provide a couple of high-level comments about the general fund. As we'll kind of get into a little bit, you'll see that the general fund did add about $302,000 to fund balance in the current year. The original budget was to use about $1.2 million. There were two significant revenue streams that resulted in an increase in the fund balance. One being a $670,000 receipt of delinquent property taxes, and then there was also some additional monies from the state's local community stabilization authority of about 1.9 million, of which only 425, or of which about 1.5 million dollars is recurring. So the city does not budget for that additional monies that came in through the local community stabilization authority, and that's appropriate just because it's not always recurring in nature. In addition, the city continues to invest in the city's infrastructure, and during the current year, they invested approximately $2.7 million in a variety of assets, including vehicles, equipment, roads, and other water and sewer infrastructure. The city did not issue any new debt during the current year and paid down existing debt by about $3.5 million. So next, what I thought I would do, instead of going through the financial statements page by page, I do have a prepared slide presentation here that you should have in front of you that I'll walk through. If you have any questions throughout, feel free to let me know and I can address those questions as you have those. The first graph looks at the general fund revenue on the budget basis. We've provided 4 years of history just for a little perspective. In the current year, which is in the far right column, the total revenue for the general fund was a little more than $21.6 million, which increased about $625,000 from 2018. Looking at the city's, the components of revenue, you'll note that property taxes, which is the city's largest revenue source, did increase by about $385,000 or 2.8%. And that's a result of just increases in taxable value. No change to the millage rate, which we'll talk a little bit more on in a couple of slides. Looking at the other significant components, state sources, that did decrease slightly by about $50,000. And that's just a result of the local community stabilization authority not distributing as much in 2019 as it did in 2018. And again, that amount that they're distributing is kind of contingent on a couple of different factors, and like I mentioned, it's not recurring in nature for a certain component of that. All the other components of the revenue were relatively stable year over year.
Just one question on that page.
Yes, sir.
On the last line, it said interest there. How did interest go up like 400% in the last 3 years?
Well, fortunately, the markets are allowing for additional revenues. I don't think there's been a significant change in the investments that the city has, but I think just we're seeing that across most of our clients where interest income, while it's still pretty insignificant, it's significant when you're comparing year over year, but overall, I think the bond markets are allowing for a little bit higher interest rates.
Really? Okay. Thank you.
The general fund expenditures, again, we have 4 years of history here. You'll note that in the current year, the total expenses were $20.6 million, which increased about $1.9 million from 2018. You'll note that the majority of the increase was in the fringe benefits and other category. There were a couple of significant items that happened in the current year. One, the MERS contribution as a result of the ARC increasing. That increased that line item by about $515,000. And then more importantly, the city made 2 advance fundings to both the pension system and then to the OPEB system. The city made a $500,000 advance contribution to the MERS pension system, and then a $50,000 contribution to the OPEB or the Retiree Healthcare Trust Fund. Looking at the other components of the expenditures, you'll note that there were some nominal increases throughout, but really there was no change to the city's cost structure. This graph looks at the general fund balance as of June 30 of 2019, which is in the far right column. You'll note that it did increase a little over $200,000. This, combined, is a little bit different than just general fund. There are a few other funds that, as a result of some other GASBs that were implemented several years ago, you have to combine those for financial statement reporting, so it would be a little bit different than what you see during the budget process. I'll talk about each of the different categories. Starting at the very bottom, which is the non-spendable fund balance. This fund balance is essentially exactly how it sounds. It's non-spendable. The money is not liquid. You can't use that to invest in further assets because the money has already been spent. It will become an asset to the city in future years, but the majority of what this really relates to is a result of a decision several years ago related to some internal financing. Instead of bonding for it, there were some loans from the general fund to some other funds. So as that becomes repaid, that will become monies that are available to the city, but at this time, that is not in spendable form. The restricted component, which is the next little bucket, that just relates to a couple of small items. It's only $250,000. It just relates to some revenues that have exceeded some restricted expenditures, and as a result, we have to restrict those monies as it can't be used for any costs of the city, just specific ones. The committed fund balance, this is related to the compensated absences fund, and as a result of an implementation of a GASB several years ago, City Council committed this fund balance for the future compensated absences, and so that money can only be spent with council action. The next, I'll call it the big blue bar there, that is assigned fund balance. I really describe this as the city's plan for how they plan on spending fund balance in the future. There's a couple of different initiatives for which management has set money aside. $1 million for future pension contributions, another $800,000 for retiree health care contributions, and about $3.1 million of future capital and equipment that's been identified as part of the city's capital plan. And then the top bucket is unassigned fund balance. This is about $1 million, which really just represents the resources that are available to the general fund, and this is just necessary just for day-to-day operations, just paying payroll and other invoices. This graph highlights the property taxes and breaks down each millage rate and the associated dollars. I'm not going to go into each of the different millages here, but one thing to note is since 2016, you'll note that the very top number there, that's the total mills levied by the city. That's been the same since 2016 and for several years even before 2016. You'll note that the total revenue that's been generated from these mills has kind of came down since 2016, and it would have been a lot higher even in previous years. So the amount of money that one mill is generating to the city has continued to decrease. From 2016, one mill is generating about $685,000 of revenue, and now that's down to about $640,000. So overall, there is some capacity that the city can levy additional mills, but it's just been the city's choice to continue to levy at that same amount and not pass on more dollars to the taxpayers. This is a history of employer pension and post-employment benefits. You'll note that as expected, they have kind of increased. There's a couple of reasons for the increase due to some additional oversight from the state and just getting additional national attention as a result of some significant legacy costs that are challenging a lot of local units. You'll see that the MERS contribution, which is the very bottom bar, that did increase a little over $1 million, and that's a result of some changes in assumptions as part of the MERS funding. And then the other significant component is post-employment benefits. This kind of varies year to year because of the self-insurance mechanism that the city has, and as a result, that can fluctuate from year over year. And as a result, that's why in 2020 the estimate is a little bit more in line with what historical numbers have been. But again, this continues to be a significant challenge and really just continues to become a significant portion of the city's budget. This is a snapshot of a variety of different special revenue funds. I don't have a lot of context here other than this is just a snapshot of what's changed throughout the year. As you'll note that there was pretty much these are all operating at a pretty break even. Your major and local streets, typically what communities would do is they build up some reserves and then they can use that money for a variety of different projects. But again, nothing significant here to highlight. It just does provide some insight as to what other funds or what other activities happening at the city. And then finally, this is a graph that provides some detail on the long-term debt of the city as of June 30th, 2019 and some history. You'll note that over the last 5 years, the total debt balance continues to decrease. At June 30th, 2018, the total debt was about $15.2 million, and as I previously mentioned, the city did pay about $3.5 million down during 2019 and did not take on any additional debt. Going forward, again, it doesn't appear that there will be any more debt taken out, and that debt balance will continue to decrease. We can talk about the graphs, otherwise I can provide a little bit of commentary on the other letter that was provided within your packets. It's just a required communication. Does anyone have any questions on the financial results?
Yeah, so I'll start first, as I said, and feel free. But I guess the one question that I'd have for you, and I think I've asked it, or someone at least has every time since I've been here, is as a comparison to other communities of similar stature of ours in Southeast Michigan, how do you feel about our overall report?
I'd say that you guys are well positioned. I mean, a lot of your neighboring communities have similar challenges, and everyone's trying to approach them a little bit differently. I think the most significant one as of late that is not just from your peer or neighboring communities, but just nationally and at the state level is the legacy costs, which I think this year has been supported of the attention that it's getting from this council by having some advanced fundings for both MERS and for retiree health care. I think that's definitely a prudent decision. From a fund balance standpoint, obviously the city of Trenton has some challenges with the result of the closure of DTE, so that'll be something that some of the neighboring communities don't have to deal with, but I know that the management has already positioned themselves in a way that they're going to be able to forecast a little bit about the financial results. So overall, I think that you're doing everything right. You're just going to be faced with a lot of challenges, but you are in a position right now to definitely take on those challenges head on.
Great, thank you. So we have any other questions from the council? All right, so we'll go Councilman Perugia and then LaFever here.
Yeah, I had a question on page 6 about the assumptions for MERS.
Sir.
It seems to be a moving target all the time. Why does that keep moving? Because you made different assumptions. It was this before, now it's this now.
Yes.
It's kind of hard to budget when the bogey keeps changing.
Absolutely. So the MERS, they kind of change up the assumptions as they do experience studies. And so there's a variety of different key assumptions. You have your discount rate, which is essentially how much money is your money going to be returning. So I think right now it's 8%. That has came down from 8.75% over the last couple of years as a result of a variety of different market studies, and it's highly dependent on the investments that MERS is investing in. There's also been changes to mortality. So on the positive side, governmental officials are typically living longer. Unfortunately, from a financial statement side, that just means you're going to have to pay people longer, right? So there's been a lot of different things that have happened at a national level that are resulting in changes in the MERS funding. And as a result, there's a variety of different circumstances. Amortization levels can change. So at some point, you could continue to amortize your unfunded liability on an annual basis. Which that really means is, if you think about your house, if you have a mortgage, you are essentially being able to refinance that every single year over 30 more years. So you're never making any progress. And so the GASB has been a little bit more prescriptive on how these liabilities are being estimated, which then as a result can impact your funding through the ARC, which is being demonstrated on page 6.
Thank you.
Yep. And to piggyback on that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the reason that we're seeing the big spike now is because the plan's closed and we have so few employees paying into that now. Correct.
That's true too. That's a challenge.
Yeah. Thank you, Councilman LaFever.
Yeah, on page 7 where it says the grants, we took in $411,000. We spent $655,000.
Yeah, that doesn't seem possible, because how could you spend more? It's really a timing of when the revenues are recognized, so you'd have an unavailable revenue. So what that really means is that in 2020, you would expect that there will be additional revenues that would come in. The GASB is pretty prescriptive. If you don't get those receipts within 60 days of year end, so by August 31st, then you can't report it as revenue, and as a result, there would be an unassigned or unavailable revenue.
So next year, that should change dramatically.
Should flip, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions from the council? No? Thank you very much, Justin. I appreciate it.
Can I just cover this one letter?
Oh, yeah, please, go right ahead.
It'll be really quick.
I don't mean to
Fortunately, there's
shoo you
only
away.
2 different components here. Had there been any journal entries or anything, I would be reporting that we identified journal entries, either material weaknesses or significant deficiencies. As part of our audit, we are required to communicate those to you. In the current year, we didn't have any, but as history reflects, we would communicate those during this time. So really what this letter is a follow-up to the pre-audit communication that we send before the audit starts, which gives you the opportunity to communicate with us about anything that you want us to look into. Fortunately, this letter is pretty boilerplate. There's not much in here, but I also wanted to highlight that there was not an additional letter. There's also some legislative and other informational items in there that we've included that you might find of interest. But we'd be happy to answer any questions throughout the year. You can definitely contact myself or Bill, and we'd be more than willing to come out and talk with you guys. So thank you very much for the opportunity to serve the city once again.
Great. Thank you very much. Alrighty. Let's see now, moving on in the agenda here. We'll wait for that's all closed up for a second. Okay, moving along here. So the next item on the agenda we'd have was public comment regarding items on the agenda. If anyone from the public wanted to come speak about anything on the agenda for today at 5 minutes. Seeing none, we will move right on along here. Next up, 33rd District Court, fines, costs, and fees from December 2019. I will defer to our court liaison there, Councilperson LaFever.
Thank you, Mayor. Make a motion to receive and place on file the fines, costs, and fees for December of 2019, which shows the city of Trenton owing the court $9,849.67.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any discussion? Seeing none, it is unanimously so ordered. Thank you very much. Next up, groups and organizations. Trenton High School class of 2021 bottle drive request. Did we have anyone coming for that by chance, Madam Clerk?
No, no
Okay.
one's here.
So, and did you normally take these, Madam Clerk?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
So the Trenton High School class of 2021 is requesting permission to participate and hold a bottle drive in the city of Trenton on Saturday, September 26th. They will be passing out flyers to advertise their drive during the week of September 14th through the 19th. And this would be under adult supervision, under the direction of the police department, and pending Civic Commission approval.
I would so move.
Support. Been moved and supported. Any further discussion? Seeing none, is unanimously so ordered. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next up, department heads and officials. Madam Controller, budget amendments as of December 31st, 2019 for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2020.
Thank you, Mayor. Before you, I've provided a spreadsheet of a few items that we would like to amend, a few budgets that we spoke about earlier during our quarterly budget review, as well as some budget changes, just combining a couple departments. The jail and crossing guards, we're going to combine that with the police department, and then the emergency services will be combined with the fire department. So those are not, the numbers will not change, it's just the account numbers, not the dollar amounts in those. And just looking for approval.
I would so move.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any discussion? Seeing none, it is unanimously so ordered. Thank you very much, Madam Controller.
Thank you.
Next up, the Library Director. The request to purchase wireless equipment and subscriptions.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Erin Chapman. I'm the Library Director. Tonight I'm requesting 4 Cisco Meraki MR45 wireless access points, 4 Cisco Meraki 3-year cloud subscriptions, plus TLN Library Network handling fee and installation. TLN recommends that the library purchases 4 Cisco Meraki MR45 wireless access points and 4 3-year cloud subscriptions. Meraki has a promotion that if purchased new wireless access points by March 1st, 2020, the cloud subscription will be extended 1 extra year at no additional fee, as savings of an estimated $1,000. The library is currently using aging wireless access points that are connected to WOW internet cable. Recommend discontinuing WOW service and connecting the wireless service to library fiber connection through separate virtual LAN, VLAN, to separate the wireless traffic from staff and public networks. The quoted installation fee includes removal of current wireless equipment, installation, configuration of new wireless equipment, setting up the VLAN, and providing login and training to library director for accessing points. The wireless project cost is $4,937.58. TLN receives scaled pricing due to their status as a cooperative, giving them competitive buying power, and TLN services 74 libraries in southeastern Michigan, purchases equipment in large quantities. The equipment listed in this quote is professional grade. The funds are available in the machinery and equipment account 271-742-982-000. And we thank you for your consideration and support.
Thank you.
I would so move.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Is there any questions? Seeing none, it is unanimously so ordered. Thank you very much, Ms. Chapman.
Thank you. Our patrons, thank you too. They've been asking for this for a long time.
Awesome. Thank you very much. All righty. Next up, Madam Clerk, do we have any late items tonight?
No, we do not.
Okay. And then we'll move on to our disbursements and statements and reports, and I will defer to Councilman Benedetti.
Thank you, Mayor. Authorized disbursements for January 27th, 2020 in the amount of $519,608.36.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any discussion? Councilman LaFever.
Yeah, under the general fund page, which is page 11, page 1, why are there 4 different invoices for salt?
I'm waiting for mine to load here.
I am too, but
Okay, so yeah, frankly, I'm going to ask you, Madam Controller, anyway,
I'm
so.
assuming because they delivered 4 times in this month or something? Isn't that how?
No, that's not true. It's the same invoice number.
Let me look, Bill.
Are we bidding the rock salt or we're not bidding it?
It's the same check number, Bill, not the same invoice number.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's the check number.
Okay.
I'm assuming they delivered salt and so they invoiced. And that's probably just their policy? I don't know. I can look and find out. Oh, I'm not on speaker, sorry. I can look at the individual invoices and ask. Who would I ask, Bill?
Ask me.
Oh, do you know?
I'll have to look at the invoice.
Okay.
But we replenish the salt barn as we use the salt. And we have a contract with Detroit Salt, which was bid through the DCC.
And how often do we bid that, Bill?
That's bid, I believe it's a 2-year contract.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman LaFever. Any further discussion? Seeing none is unanimously so ordered.
Okay, so authorize the ACH transactions dated December 2019 in the amount of $2,447,362.66.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Any further discussion? Seeing none is unanimously so ordered.
Okay, don't fall asleep while I'm doing this. So, make a motion to place on file the financial summary dated December 31st, 2019, the City Beautiful Commission minutes November 7th, 2019, the Fire and Police Pension Board regular meeting minutes November 20th, 2019, the Library Advisory Board minutes from November 6th, 2019, the Recreation Commission minutes November 19th, 2019, Retiree Healthcare Benefit Plan Board meeting minutes October 16th, 2019, and January 15th, 2020. The Fire Department Monthly Report, December 2019, and the Police Department Monthly Report, 2019.
Support.
Moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none is unanimously so ordered. And then lastly, I'll let you take that closed session there.
And then move to amend the motion previously approved on January 13th, 2020 to hold a closed study session following a regular council meeting of January 27th, 2020 to also include the subject of consideration of lease of property and litigation.
Support.
Has been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Oops, get my roll call sheet. Benedetti?
Yes.
Cabawetten?
Yes.
LaFever?
Yes.
Pate? Yes. Perugi?
Yes.
Rezeppa?
Yes.
Von Crooks?
Yes.
Motion carried. Mayor Rezeppa?
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. Alrighty. Thank you, Councilman Benedetti, as well. Let you catch your breath for a minute.
No problem.
So we'll move on. Comments from the council and officials. I'm going to be very, very brief. I just wanted to thank the Civic Commission, and frankly, I mean, I could probably go on and on. Everyone to thank there for the City Awards banquet. Again, it's my favorite event every year. Just where we get to celebrate all the things around town that are great. So I just wanted to thank everyone for a wonderful event there. And also to thank you, Bill, Hogan, and everyone at DPW. While it was a monumental task to do the snow, and obviously there's always hiccups with that. In terms of how our streets were done, how promptly it all came about, it was we were certainly top of the pack in the area. So great work by all our guys on the snow removal and that horribly, horribly heavy, wet, gross snow the other weekend. And then I just wanted to, unfortunately, I don't think Teresa's here, but wanted everyone to know next Monday for our council meeting to wear your Sunday best. We're going to do pictures that day as well. They want to get new headshots for the website and a picture of all of us here. So figured I'd give everyone the heads up. I don't remember exactly what time she said, but we'll 6:15 they'll start. Okay, so 6:15. That is all I have until I think of 5 other things later on. But so then I will move on to next down the line, actually, is Councilwoman Pate. She'll be starting tonight.
Good evening, everyone. I did attend the January 23rd CAG meeting for the EPA, and while a lot of people may find frustration in how those meetings go. I encourage people to continue showing up because I really feel that it's the community's position and the citizens that have the interest in making sure that that is cleaned up properly and to the best standards that we can get out of that project. Just please keep showing up. I believe the next meeting is potentially February 13th, but I'll definitely post that information for you. And other than that, congratulations to all the people who won awards at the Civic Commission's event to honor all those people. And they had some really great stories, and hopefully those stories can be posted so everybody can hear them. And they're great people. We've got a lot of great people in Trenton, so thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. That's one. Councilman Kabawatten.
You've said it all, Mayor. Great job to the DPS for the snow plowing, as well as a great event at the down at the Chateau on the River for the Civic Awards. And I had the honor to, or the opportunity to attend the CAG as well. And yes, please stay involved. So other than that, I will turn it over.
Great. Thank you very much, Councilwoman. Councilwoman Bun Crooks.
Yeah, just to piggyback on the snow removal, I was coming here tonight and I noticed, I don't know whose responsibility it is, but coming over the viaduct, there was an elderly woman trying to walk across the viaduct, and it was very icy and full of snow on the only part that you can walk on.
Yeah.
So maybe we could address that with either we do it or the county, but I just hate to see somebody fall into traffic.
Sure.
Because she was struggling to get up that hill and it was all ice.
Yeah, no, and I know that is the county, and that's unfortunately not the first time we've had that issue too. But we'll definitely do whatever we need to make sure that that gets prioritized.
And
too.
also with the snow removal and how they, kind of ruined a lot of people's property in Trenton coming down 4th Street, are all the residents, I'm sorry, Rick, are all the residents aware of who to contact to have their things repaired, or who they make a claim to, or how they go about this?
So, funny as it may sound, I actually haven't had a single person contact me outside of someone sitting at the table here about that. But so I'm under the assumption, which again, that's a horrible phrase to use. I know Rick will provide more insight. That is Wayne County's responsibility. I think that unfortunately, that people realize that, and because this isn't the first go-around with all that as well. But yeah, they do have things set up on their website to report that damage. And I'll let Councilman Benedetti kind of plug in the rest of it there, since you've unfortunately had to deal with it a little more closely than I have.
Yeah, okay, well, thank you. I just wanted the residents to have an avenue to who to contact. Thank you, that's it.
Okay, so we'll start with the first thing. So the people that do live along 4th Street, all the way from just north of Harrison, all the way down to Benson. So apparently you're supposed to contact Wayne County through their website. You find the departments, go to the risk management department. Under there, you'll find a form for property damage. You print that off, you fill it out, you mail them that with the pictures. Yes, you have to mail it. In this day and age, we can't email to the county, apparently. You mail it to them, and eventually you'll hear back from them. There's also some phone numbers. I know not everybody belongs to that neighborhood app thing that is out there, but I posted, and I'll get them to you, Stephen. There's a phone number to call and file your claim. You have to do it within 120 days. I think Mr. Wilson was also looking into it, but he's not going to be here much longer, I heard. So we'll get those numbers and get them to Stephen if people want to call and get them, or we can post them someplace. But we're working on it. We're working with them. I talked to the state today. They said they were told that the county is trying to find one contractor to fix them all. I don't know how that would work. So hopefully everybody's getting taken care of. If not, let us know. We have emails here. Send me an email. I'll be happy to walk through it with you and try to get some of it going for you.
Great.
Again, awesome job by the awards banquet. It was great to see everybody there. I think the only downfall of it this year was, the MC was okay. He wasn't as good as all the other years, but I will say we were out of there in an hour and a half instead of 3.5. So besides that, it was a great event, Bill. You missed it.
Hey, Bill?
Your presence was missed, Councilman. For however many dozens of those you do every year, you certainly leave big shoes to fill. So
Not one joke. Not one joke all night.
I guess the beauty of it, though, was I was actually able to make eye contact with the MC this time without fear. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, and besides the DPW doing a great job, I really appreciate everything they did. I know, Mr. Hogan, you can probably comment on it if you feel like it, but some people didn't like the fact that, well, they plowed my driveway back in. This is the story we go through every time. Where would you like us to put the snow, people? We have to move it off the streets. We apologize for that. I know it was wet and heavy, but in time, it all went away. So, great job. Thank you.
Yep, absolutely. Anything else?
Nope.
Councilman LaFever.
Just, I apologize for not being there. I got delayed in Florida, which was nice, okay. The storm up here caused me to not go home in time to miss it. I did miss it, really. I'm happy that Jokes and Steve Voss, I did Jokes did a fantastic job, and Steve did like a marginal job, okay? But, both of them did a good job, and congratulations on all the award winners, and I'm sorry I missed you, Steve, to get a chance to comment on your job, but I didn't get a chance to do that, but the only thing, I got a new phone sheet tonight. I think everybody should check their phone numbers. Whoever mixed the numbers up did a pretty good job with mine. There's nothing anywhere near my number.
Oh, my God.
Check it and make sure we can get them corrected.
We'll submit the right one next time, Bill, and you won't have that problem.
I don't know what the deal is.
Yeah, Bill's numbers will be close.
Is that all you have, Jay?
That's it. That's it.
Thank you. And Councilman Perucci.
Yes, good evening. I just want to make it clear that the snow plowing that was affected the whole 4th Street corridor was not any due in part of our employees. I want people to fully understand that it was the county and not our employees, so that way they don't take unnecessary abuse. So I just want the residents to know that. So, and other than that, they did a great job. So thank you.
Okay. Is that all?
That's it.
Thank you very much, Councilman. Madam Clerk, do you have anything for us tonight?
I would just like to mention that the next regular council meeting is Monday, February 3rd. And that's it for me.
All righty, thank you. Mr. Assessor?
Good evening, Mayor Rizzup and council members. I just wanted to inform the personal property taxpayers that if you filed the 5076 last year in 2019, you are not required to refile it again this year. Those who did not file last year will need to file the 5076, and that is due on February 20th. If you are over the 80,000 threshold, you will have to file the 630 or the 4175. The residential ratio for this year, we will be increasing the residential class by roughly by 5%. The commercial and the industrial, again, will be flat. They're both coming in roughly at 50% already. So there will be no real increase in the industrial or commercial this year. The inflation rate multiplier for this year is 1.9%. So if there is that's where our growth will be in that. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Treasurer.
I don't know if you missed this on purpose or not, but as far as I know, I think there's a State of the City coming up next Monday, and everybody's invited. It's at 11:30 at Westfield, and that'll give the State of City and a debut by our new mayor, Stephen Rizzup, give a overview of the progress and the status of the city. That's sponsored, that's sponsored by Trenton Business Association, the city, and the Trenton Rotary. So you may contact City Clerk. Would you be able to take reservations?
The mayor's secretary.
Okay, call the city, and the mayor's secretary would be able to handle that, or at least forward the name of the person you contact. But everybody's invited. We look forward to seeing you there, and I look forward to hearing from our mayor.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
So you don't have to look forward to it that much, trust me. I don't want you to spend your whole weekend looking forward to it or anything there. But Thank you, Mr. Treasurer. Any of our department heads have anything for us tonight?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Just wanted to get everybody a head start on the showcase, the Trenton MIHL High School Hockey Showcase. It'll be coming in the 6th, 7th, and 8th of February, so we're a week away, a week and 3 days. Sure, I'll get called out on that date, but look forward to seeing everybody out there. We do have a lot of volunteer opportunities still available. Goal judges, penalty box, help with our hospitality rooms, and so on. So if you guys are interested, please go to our website, trentonkrc.org. Thank you very much.
Right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other department heads have anything tonight? All right, we'll move into public comment. Anyone from the public wishing to speak, please address us with your name and address. I have 5 minutes. Direct all questions through me, the chair. Seeing none, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Got a motion and support. Any discussion? It's adjourned. Yeah, we'll go upstairs.
Who wants to?